I was thinking of videos that I could make, and I also wanted to move away from classics for a little while, so I started reading the Chronicles of Narnia books. And then I was like, oh wait. So over the last week or so, I've been reading all the Chronicles of Narnia books by C.S. Lewis. These were written in the 1950s, and the order that you're meant to read them in is kind of like a big debate. Some people say you're meant to read them in the publication order, and other people say you're meant to read them in the chronological order of like the events of the book. However, I personally kind of mixed up the two and done it in this order here, and I think it worked out really well. So none of the books are bad, and I enjoyed all of them, which makes ranking them really difficult. However, there's like certain criteria that I thought just made the perfect Narnia book, and I'll discuss this as I go along. The descriptions of the books, I've tried to make it kind of make sense, but obviously I'm reviewing them out of order, so it's kind of, you know, anyway, I think I've made sure that they all make sense. So in last place, I have Prince Caspian. I feel like that's kind of a controversial choice, but I'll explain obviously. So Prince Caspian is set 1,300 years in Narnia time after the events of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, only 1 year in like our time. And 4 children from that book go back into Narnia as their help is needed in a battle. We learn about Prince Caspian and his upbringing, and that he's run away from his uncle, the king, who wants to kill him. He finds like the talking animals of old Narnia, which are kind of in hiding now because of the king. And they all plan to fight the king and bring old Narnia back to power. I really enjoyed the Pevensie. Okay, I do not know how to say their name. The 4 children, rediscovering Narnia and seeing how like time has changed the places that they once knew and loved. And there was really nice like side characters in this book, and also like the introduction of Prince Caspian. I actually really like him as a character. However, things I didn't like, the siblings treat each other really badly. Susan comes off the worst. Susan comes off really bad in this book, and nobody like trusts Lucy at all, and they kind of demean her, and it's, I don't know, it's just not that fun to read. I also didn't love the battle at the end, because this is the 3rd book in the series, and by this point it was the 3rd book in a row that had a battle at the end, and I was just wanting something different. I was so over like the battles, which I didn't think were even written that well. The Horse and His Boy follows Shasta, a boy who lives in Calormen, which is a country next to Narnia. So this is something that confused me first. Narnia is the world, but then there's also a country in the world called Narnia. I don't know, you get your head around it. So he discovers that his father, who isn't actually his father, is planning to sell him to be a slave. And then as he's discovering this, the horse of the man that's going to buy him as a slave reveals itself to be a talking Narnian horse who wants to return to Narnia to be free. Shasta and the horse then go off on an adventure together. Along the way they meet another talking horse and a girl Aravis who is escaping from an arranged marriage that they're going to be part of. This book's very different from the others because it doesn't feature characters from our world going into Narnia for the first time, and I thought that was kind of a bad thing. It kind of loses the, like the wonder aspect of the books. I did find it interesting to find about the countries surrounding Narnia and what they think of the magical land, because they're just so different. Lewis is very good at world building and creating a clear picture of places in your head, and as the list progresses you'll see that that's something that I think is really important to the Narnia books. The story, however, in this book just kind of drags on, and it just wasn't that captivating to me. It doesn't have the like magical feel, like I said, because of the like people from our world discovering Narnia, so I just didn't like it as much. There's also a battle at the end. Oh my god, the battle at the end of this book is so bad. It's so badly written. It comes from like an outside perspective, point of view, and it's just weird. It's like a bad like sports commentary. I don't know, it just wasn't good. The Magician's Nephew tells us the history of the White Witch from the first book, and also how Aslan created Narnia. It's the most religious books, as the second half is basically a retelling of the creation story from the Bible, and also Eve's fall from grace, like the whole Garden of Eden, the serpent and the apple, that whole story. However, I still really enjoyed it. It wasn't like, it was a retelling, but it wasn't like pushing anything onto you, in my opinion anyway. I'm not religious, but that's the feeling I got from it. Lewis is at his best when he's world building, and you don't get much more world building than the creation of the world itself, you know what I mean? So I really, really enjoyed just how Narnia came to life. It was so magical. It was just really, really interesting. This book also has my favourite quote in the whole series, and I'm going to read it. So it says, I can't remember, it was just in a little animal who said, Aslan, Aslan, have I made the first joke? Will everybody always be told how I made the first joke? No, little friend, said the lion, you have not made the first joke. You have only been the first joke. See, when I read that, I was like, oh my god, Aslan pops off. Aslan went for it there. I don't know, I thought it was really funny. I put it on Twitter and a lot of people agreed with me. Like, Aslan doesn't hold back. The last battle is the final book in the series and tells the story of the final days of Narnia. An ape tricks a donkey into wearing a lion's skin and pretending to be Aslan. He uses this to his advantage to kind of take over Narnia, and it results in a great battle in which all of the children from the previous books are brought back to help. I thought it was a really fitting conclusion to the series, and I really enjoyed seeing all the old characters return. The new characters introduced in this story were actually really interesting as well, which I don't think there's ever bad like side characters introduced in any of the books now I think about it. But anyway, this one stood out as I really liked the characters. The actual battle scene in this book as well was much better written than the other battles, and at this point we'd went 3 books without a battle, so I didn't really mind it coming back, and then this one was just so much better written. Lewis really improved as an author as the series went on, and it's really obvious with the battle scene in this book, in my opinion. There's also a big shock at the end of the book, which I'm still shook by right now. It's like still blowing my mind, and when you read it, you're like, did that really happen? You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I think that's really interesting because these are children's books, but I don't want to spoil it. Stuff gets crazy. So in third place, we have The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is the first book in a series and by far the most well known. It follows the 4 Pevensie children. I really don't know. I give up. Discovering Narnia through a magic wardrobe, and they meet lots of interesting characters. They meet Aslan for the first time, and it ends with a big battle versus the White Witch to restore Narnia to its former glory, as she's been ruling it and using magic to make it in like an eternal winter. Yeah, I don't know why I thought I wasn't right there. So there's a real sense of wonder in this book as you discover Narnia for the first time. And like I've said a few times now, Lewis is at his best when he's doing world building and creating settings, and this is really obvious in this first book. Everywhere you go with the children, there's just such a like real proper environment, and you can just picture it so clearly. And when you finish this book, you just automatically want to pick up the next one and find out more about Narnia, because Lewis just leaves such a sense of wonder. And your thoughts? So I felt bad not putting this higher, but I just think, like I've said the last clip, Lewis really improves as he's going on, and yeah, although I love this book, it definitely isn't my favourite Narnia book. In second place, I have The Silver Chair, and I was so surprised by this book. So I wasn't looking forward to it at first because based on the front cover, I thought it was going to be another battle story, but I was pleasantly surprised to find out I was wrong, and I ended up really enjoying it. It follows Eustace, the cousin of the 4 main children, and his school friend Jill, as they enter Narnia for what is Eustace's second time and Jill's first time. Aslan tells them they have to go on a mission to find King Caspian, former Prince Caspian, find his son, and bring him back to Narnia. In this book, Lewis really expands the world in which Narnia is in. Yeah. And he creates lands of like giants and lands underground, which are just so interesting. I really loved the underground world that we explore in this book. These things really make this one unique and stand out from the rest. Before I read The Silver Chair as well, I was kind of hesitant about spending time with like more new main characters, because you do want to stick to like the ones you already know in a series, but I was surprised again to find out that I really, really liked Eustace and Jill, and I actually preferred them in a way to the Pevensie children, because Eustace and Jill get on really well, whereas the 4 children are always bickering and like making jabs at each other, and it makes the adventure less exciting when they're doing that. It kind of ruins the mood, if that makes sense. So Jill and Eustace getting on really well, it was like a nice change of pace. I was really surprised by how much I liked this book, because when I went into it, I just wasn't excited, and then here it is, number 2. And in first place, I have Voyage of the Dawn Treader. In this book, we follow Lucy, Edmund, and their cousin Eustace, who are magically pulled into a painting of a ship. This ship happens to belong to King Caspian, and we follow the crew on an exciting adventure as they discover new worlds and loads of different islands, and they go to the end of the world. This was exactly what I wanted from a Narnia book. It has adventure, fantasy, wonder. The characters are great. Every single island that the Dawn Treader arrives at was unique and interesting. Which really kept the pace going because you just wanted to find like the next island and like see what Lewis could come up with. It was also the first book in a while. Yeah, so this was book number 4 that I read. It was the first one to not have a big battle, which, as I've said, I was so happy at this point not to have to go for another battle scene. I loved the ending to this book as well. I thought it was really satisfying. All the characters are at their best here, I think. So Edmund and Lucy get on far better than they do with Peter and Susan, the other 2 children. Like I said, they're always bickering and stuff, but Lucy and Edmund get on really well. And Eustace starts off this book not great, but he has really nice character development. It's not that far into it, and then he becomes like the standout character of the book. We meet other new characters and creatures throughout the journey, and they were all just really great. Like I've said, Lewis and world building are just like perfect. That's his strong point. So exploring different islands and stuff is just like amazing. So those were my rankings. I actually really struggled to put them, into places because, like I've said, I didn't dislike any of them. However, I do think the weak points are the battles for the most part and the strong points are the adventures. So that kind of swayed the list a lot. The middle was kind of, I don't know, I struggled a bit, and I looked through other people's videos as well and lists, and like everyone's is so different, which I think is really great. It just shows that everyone's tastes can be accommodated in the Narnia books, and I just really recommend them. They're such fast reads, all of them in my editions anyway were like 170 to 190 pages, and I was reading them all in like one sitting or at least one day. So if you want a quick read, I highly recommend them. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Let me know if you read the Narnia books, what you thought of them, what one's your favourite, blah blah blah. I'm just obsessed with series right now. I don't know why. I just think they're really great. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you later.